edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media. He could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job. That is our job. That is our job.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here, December 1773. With me as always, Ryan. This is episode 103 of The Weekly Show, all of the week's hottest episodes. Ryan is drinking, and I think that's an important time to mention that today's word of the day is allegedly.
Allegedly. It's allegedly.
We are allegedly going to be talking about Hunter Biden today and all the things that he allegedly does and did in the past. Also, now is a good time to mention to go like us on Rumble. As you have seen, YouTube does like to remove things occasionally. Today would be a good candidate if YouTube's watching. Today's a good candidate to remove content. That's why we're saying allegedly before everything, Ryan. Before we jump into Hunter Biden, are you? Is there anything you need to say? Allegedly.
I'll sip the tea at the end, David. Thank you, though. This is going to be a nice day. You know, this was a long time coming. It's not like anybody's seen this. This is just such shocking details that have emerged out of the woodwork. I'm glad that nobody ever seen the stuff that we're about to talk about has come before.
Well, what brought a lot of this on, two things. One, there was the 4chan leak. Alleged. The 4chan leak was real, but it leaked alleged Hunter Biden items such as his iPhone, one of his laptops, and iCloud information. I don't know Apple products that well. That seems like a lot of i stuff.
If you get the iCloud, you can pretty much get everything. You know.
Also, the PBD podcast had John Paul Mac Isaac on. He was the guy. I don't have to say alleged for this. He was the guy who took one of Hunter Biden's laptops in for repair/recovery of data.
So you mean that's not a conspiracy, Dave?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a real thing. New York Post, I don't know if you remember this, but New York Post posted it before the election and Twitter, and then it was taken down and said it was Russian false disinformation campaigns. We'll get into all that, Ryan. Don't you worry.
That's amazing.
But first, let's get into the 4chan leak of Hunter Biden's alleged iCloud information. Pedo Pete, massive 4chan hack of Hunter Biden's explicit text, images, videos, rocks the internet. We'll talk about Pedo Pete in case somehow you don't know who Pedo Pete is yet. But upon this alleged leak of Hunter Biden information, Ryan, you need to keep it together. We're going to get through this. Another...
this guy's the son of the president.
Video purports to show Biden arguing with a prostitute about the amount of crack he had in his possession. The video only shows Biden's face for a moment, although the pose with the cigarette matches previous media. Luckily, the video, the alleged video. I'm sorry, alleged video. Here we go.
No, I just weighed out the bag. It's 2.06.
By the way, it bothers me that they're saying 2.0. It's 2.0 point.
Without the bag.
Hunter says it too. It's not 2.07, you idiot. They don't even know where the decimals are. These people are running nations. Allegedly.
So what's alleged about that? We can't confirm if that's his shit or not.
Ryan, who knows? That could be Russian disinformation. Maybe the Russians have really good CGI.
Now, I know this has nothing to do with the current president, but the last president was allegedly having strippers piss on the bed that Obama slept on, and we took that as the holy grail to dismantle somebody.
But why do we have to say allegedly and they don't? That bothers me.
The thing is we know why they're doing it. It's just crazy that they get away with it at this point. But you really got to ask yourself, how the fuck are we just finding out about this now? There's no way the internet just had this waiting. The internet been had this.
The internet Ben had this indeed, Ryan. They also Ben had allegedly Several videos show Biden walking along a beach and consuming drugs in the shower with a woman who refers to him as her future baby daddy. Yeah, and then we'll also see this in another alleged clip from the alleged leak of 4chan.
This is our future baby daddy. You naughty horse.
Naughty horse,
Hey.
as she says.
I don't think like that.
Oh.
Maybe that was just a cigarette, Ryan. I'm not a drug expert or anything. Allegedly. That was allegedly Hunter Biden in the shower with drugs. I gotta tell you, the Russians, if this is Russian disinformation, impressive CGI work for sure. Really, really special stuff there.
It's really amazing. We get pulled from the internet for something I said, but this guy's out here smoking crack with strippers, the son of the president. It's fine.
No, Ryan, it gets worse.
Nobody knew about it before, though.
For something you said, talking about how other people feel about the election.
Yeah, right. All 81 million. All that told me was I now speak for 80 million people. So thank you.
Congratulations, Ryan. You have a large 80 million as the mega dork king.
Dude, I have more people than Trump, you know?
This gets good along these lines. And another, Biden appears to slide naked into a pool and swim up to a woman filming him. Hunter's father, President Joe Biden, also reportedly loves to skinny dip.
How the fuck do they know that?
Well, the Secret Service. So there was apparently a joke among the Secret Service that that's the worst person to guard. And I would have a video clip for this, but when I went to pull it, yeah.
Dude, there's no way Biden just enjoys skinny dipping. He likes getting looked at by grown Secret Service men like an old creepy.
Maybe, well, the context is what's important. He probably has Secret Service agents over for a barbecue with all their family and their young children. And that's probably when he goes skinny dipping, allegedly.
Joe Biden can't, like, those people can't literally take their eyes off that guy. So they have to watch this dude swim naked. How fucking creepy is this family?
Pretty creepy, if you want the truth, Ryan.
God, I thought... No, I was going to say something, but it incriminate like 2/3 of the people I know, so forget it.
Oh, okay. The leak also included series of allegedly text messages allegedly. Oh, they say allegedly from Biden, which suggests they had his father's own. He and his father own a number of guns, and then he stole upwards of $100,000 from his ex-wife.
Very ethical.
Yeah.
Why do we care about guns, though? Honestly.
Hunter Biden admits Joe Biden possessed 5 guns in 2019. Joe has pushed for gun control during his presidency. And this is the text message. If you want to pause the video and read it, go for it. But it's just all what they're talking about here. And then also Hunter Biden's, here's the alleged evidence of him swindling. Again, feel free to pause. That's a hell of a family there.
Oh, yeah. How silly of I asking why it matters if Joe Biden owns any guns.
Yeah.
Because he's taking...
Pump action shotguns, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they're just non-semi-automatic mass murder machines.
Just was it Biden who said to just shoot one into the air? Just shoot a round into the air.
Guy's a fucking idiot.
Felony.
Gonna shoot your neighbor. If he was just responsible and highly trained.
Where does he think the round goes when it goes into the air? To space? It's gonna come back down.
Gravity's not real, and neither are age limits on women, David. Didn't you know?
That's a good point. Breitbart News reported Wendell Hughes, I don't even know how to say his name, shared a screenshot of what he claimed was a contact on Hunter Biden's phone, listed as Pedo Peter. Another user alleged that the contact card belonged to President Joe Biden due to his previous use of the pseudonym Peter Henderson. Pedo Pete. President Pedo Pete, allegedly.
Hunter is apparently using Biden's pseudonym as a jest in his phone to refer to him as a pedophile.
Pedo Pete.
Wow, talk about inside job.
I kind of wish we could call it, honestly. Who is Pedo Peter?
We should call it. I'm sure many people have been calling this lately.
And people watching this, and people in the media, may be thinking to themselves, what difference does it make what Hunter Biden does with his own life? Joe Biden is president, not Hunter Biden. And that's a fair point, Ryan. Hunter Biden laptop details dozens of business meetings with VP Dad Joe. Right. One of the voicemails retrieved from the device appears to have Biden yelling, allegedly, telling his son that he was clear following a New York Times story covering Hunter Biden's business with the Chinese energy company CEFC. Hey, pal, it's Dad. It's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, just give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just wanted to talk to you. Joe Biden said in the voicemail pulled from the device, allegedly. I thought the article released online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times. It was good. I think you're clear. Anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. Love you. Now, this sounds bad. But, again, this is all alleged and can't be corroborated currently. Couldn't possibly be corroborated. And that brings us to John Paul Mac Isaac on PBD Podcast.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
I will wait, because there's a lot to go over. You're free to go for a minute.
This is so deep. First of all, PBD. I'm glad that I referenced this podcast. Not that it's all about me and stuff, but it's
I am too, because it's outstanding, honestly.
The guy has incredible content. There's an obvious reason why he is growing very successful. Valuetainment, PBD, and everything else. But his guests were on. He's actually, I didn't really do Decembertainment this week, little spoilers. But because the stuff I listened to was his stuff, and it's just so intertwined with what we've been talking about lately, because everything's changing, electric cars. But there's a reason that guy is so successful, man. He's been on fire. I'm glad that we now have another source in the internet to use, and that is, honestly, there's no difference between him and Rogan. At the grand scheme of things, they kind of do the same thing, right? Like they bring in interesting people and have great conversations, right? Like that's the whole idea, and figure out problems. But it's just cool once again to pull, because I'll get to this a little later too with Jordan Peterson again. But it's almost like we're going to the subscription model to get in news and information. Also, it's really creepy that this dude is the president's son, and I hate to keep comparing Trump and stuff. I said I wouldn't do this, but we have to pay attention to the way the media has responded, because it tells you everything you need to know, right?
Yeah.
They said this story wasn't even real to begin with and everything else. And now, once again, YouTube, this is all alleged, but they ran with that New York Times article, that New York Times interview, right, with that lawyer and the dossier that they later impeached Trump on, and then it comes out in federal court. It's basically a lie. Most of it is fake or altered.
Right, that story was never squashed.
Never squashed. But this one, which was like have actual maybe credible evidence, right? I'm sorry. This has always been the problem with people just labeling shit conspiracy. Because if you don't we should question the craziest thing about all these politicians. Because honestly, people are crazy creatures to begin with. And honestly, I have met people and know people with very similar problems as Hunter Biden.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like everybody knows crackheads. It's not like an exaggeration.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I don't know any dumb enough to just leave a laptop full of incriminating evidence.
It's only incriminating because of his position. Like, I bet you this has happened to a ton of people, and that's probably part of the reason why they're crackheads. But this is what I mean. It just brings up the psychology of this family, man. Like the psychology of these people, and like how they.
Well, I think what it is if you had any crackhead with a father who had this much power, that's probably something along the lines of what would end up happening.
Well, dude, what if he molested his kids growing up?
Pedo Pete.
That's why they're fucking drug addicts.
Maybe. That's called speculation, Ryan.
I mean, this is like so. They indicted Trump on a fake story. They didn't even let this one get out.
No, and we're going to get more into that aspect because John Paul Mac Isaac does talk a little bit about that.
That honestly gets me more, because honestly, it doesn't surprise me. These people have had spirit cookings and all the secret society stuff you ever hear, Bohemian Grove, Bilderberg. I mean, and then Epstein Island, we've heard all of these things. He didn't kill himself, obviously. But like all these things, somebody else tied to the Clintons just like hung themselves and shot themselves or something crazy.
Probably in that order.
Exactly. Twice. Ruled twice suicide. Invent shit. But I know this is a little scatterbrained, but the whole point still remains. I'm more upset about how the media covers this shit at this point more than actually what's going on, because I've known that these people are creeps. It was always, once again, labeled a conspiracy. We need to hold these people accountable and think the craziest shit sometimes.
Maybe
And
I was gonna say maybe what they need to do is just treat everybody the same, and either run every story and just keep notes on it, keep it up to date, or honestly, that's the only answer. Squashing
Dude,
every story is not the answer.
And it ties into the whole thing of all these big tech companies building algorithms for social engineering in the future, right? Like literally, they're working with the communist Chinese to make social credit scores, basically, and social in communist countries, right? So they have to scan your phone, scan your tweets. So they build all these things, but politicians' kids can smoke crack, fuck strippers, be on Chinese boards and Ukrainian deals, allegedly, and then that's not heard about, and that's going to influence a fucking election. And then the election, it led to 40-year highs on almost every metric of fucking society, even though that the president can't change gas prices, but we can sell our surplus. Has nothing to do with the price, though. But it's just the way they've covered it, the way they've spent it, big media, I've said this since the beginning, this has always been known, they have always had this information on Hunter Biden, just like they had grab the pussy tape on Donald Trump. They've always had this, and now we're just magically, oh no, we drew the curtain back. The Wizard of Oz has lost his fucking robes or whatever. This is fucking ridiculous. This guy's a known crackhead, probably molested by his father his entire life. And you know what's sad? We have to talk about it, but it's used as political cannon fodder. Like, really, if we really cared as people, we'd be like, holy fuck, get this guy help. No, it's fine. We're laughing at it. It's fucking hilarious. It's hilarious.
I fall in both camps. Solidly in both camps. Get him help, but also, if you don't, it's kind of hilarious.
Didn't even exist 6 months ago. This was not even on the political radar, not even influential. But now that we're in a fucking recession.
The first clip here, Ryan.
It's almost like they waited to tell you this story until something happened. And then they're like, oh my God, did you see this one?
Yeah, I saw it 2 years ago.
Almost had it.
2 years ago, right before the election. He's talking about how the FBI has the laptop and possibly notes Zelensky in Ukraine maybe being a puppet.
The FBI reached out to him in an effort to get a hold of me. We agreed, and the FBI came to my house. I explained the situation in about beginning of November, and about mid-November. And I presented them with some stuff I had printed up, because during this time, the impeachment hearings had started. Or there was whispers of it. It was getting close. There was now the big concern. Sure, I'm fearful of my safety. I've definitely witnessed criminal activity on this device.
Definitely witnessed criminal activity.
But now there's an impeachment that's
feared for my safety.
Whispers of impeachment that's occurring over a phone call about the previous administration in Ukraine. And I had seen enough information on that laptop to know that there was a blatant pay-for-play scheme. The Bidens made out like bandits during the 2014 Ukrainian conflict. And in my opinion, from what I had seen, President Trump had every reason to call Zelensky, considering Zelensky was created by Igor Kolomoisky, who was Hunter Biden's business partner. And when the Bidens could no longer protect Kolomoisky and his billions that he embezzled during the Ukraine conflict,
he'll kill himself.
Kolomoisky did the next best thing. He made his own president. He took his prize actor from his TV series or TV station and groomed him to be the president, got him elected. So now he doesn't have to worry. First thing Zelensky did when he got elected was the privatization of Profit Bank, which was Igor's bank. He made that illegal, so Igor could have his bank back, have his money back, and return to the country. So it was, to watch what's happening in Ukraine happen all over again. It's scary. Except this time we're sending $40 billion instead of $18 billion.
Ryan, can we real quick just hit the Biden quote? This is no accident.
I wonder why they didn't want Trump to be president.
Well, because he was a Russian co-conspirator, Ryan. That's why.
Dave and I, and John as well, from December 1773, actually went and seen a movie directed by Dennis D'Souza. It was called Hillary. It was the Hillary Clinton movie.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, to be honest.
Anyways, in there, they say Saul Alinsky's playbook, Rules for Radical. He says, accuse your opponents of exactly what you are doing. And here we literally have proof. You know, not to brag, not that we're ahead of the curve or nothing, David.
But we are.
Yeah, I'm just glad that it's all unison. That's why I keep referencing it, because we're not off of the mark here, people. Like, I told you this guy ran a thing. He was we talked about this guy when this all went on. I remember this on this podcast. He was an actor and everything else. So just to hear that little bit of tidbits about how he's linked to Hunter Biden and everything else, why would we be surprised?
Yeah, it's one thing to say, well, he's an actor. Maybe he's acting as president. That sounds conspiratorial, right? But then when you put more information to it, more context to it, now it sounds like maybe.
Dude, $40 billion are involved. Isn't like the number one rule with drugs or prostitution or child trafficking is follow the money?
Yes.
40 billion. Go
it's
to
over
Steve
50
America.
now.
Dude, we're in a fucking recession. The United States dollar and the euro are the exact same value right now. That wasn't like that last year. The euro's been worth more than $1 for a little while now. It's not like that.
That sounds like a good thing, Ryan. That sounds like our dollar's worth more now.
No, it sounds like we're battling for the next global currency, David. That's what it sounds like to this little guy on his couch sucking Heineken from an international company. Fuck, I swear, if Heineken goes up because the euro's worth less.
And maybe it goes a little bit further now, because in this next clip here, he's talking about, it kind of seems there were some red flags, and maybe it seems like the FBI is maybe protecting the Bidens.
Hold on a second. I was just going to ask David, how did Trump not get this to the surface?
Well, that's a good question, Ryan. Did Trump have it? The FBI had it. Rudy Giuliani tried to get it to the surface and he got squashed. In fact, Rudy Giuliani, who was given the information from the guy they're interviewing right now, who had it directly from Hunter Biden, was called a Russian co-conspirator. He was out there delivering Russian disinformation to try to sway the election.
And to think they're holding Americans for walking into the Capitol building, even though it was illegal, walking into the Capitol building, and they're calling them insurrectionists and holding them a criminal trial, but people who literally deliberately had their hands in the pot and altering elections are walking free, still telling me what I can and can't do.
Well, they violently walked in after they were allowed to go in, Brian. So I see where you're confused.
It's so confusing because I get all this different
behavior
information
with family members, and that's all I'm going to talk about.
Wow. Inappropriate behavior with family members? Okay, let me speculate.
He's not talking.
I'm going to speculate. You know, you can decide to say whatever you want to say. It would be drugs. It would be sex. It would be theft. It would be...
Sounds like all the things we just showed alleged clips of.
What else it would be? I mean, that's what it's going to be. Outside of that, what else would be in there, right?
Well, again, like I've always told people, there's enough criminal material on that laptop. We don't need to make up anything. We don't need to find a dark place in our minds where we want to believe that there's this evil that's on it. There's enough evil on it. We don't need to make up.
Who has the laptops now?
Oof. Well, the FBI should. They took it from me, gave me a subpoena and everything and a receipt, and that was
you didn't
December
copy
9th,
them?
2019.
Oh, don't worry, he's got copies.
Lost it. I have I still have the copy that I gave my father, which predates the copy I gave to Rudy, or Rudy's office. The only thing I remotely said to the FBI like that was jokingly when they were leaving. I said, "Don't worry, lads. When I write the book, I'll leave your names out." And that's when one agent turned around and said, "In our experience, nothing ever happens to people that don't talk about these things." A lot of red flags occurred. They told me.
Wait, what was that?
Came looking for it. I was to.
He said that.
In our experience,
people who don't talk stay safe.
So it's only the people who are vocal.
BS story that it's off-site and give me a couple days to get it. I was immediately to text Agent Mike, and he would return the laptop to me. So I'm thinking, if this is evidence, how can they return it? And that's kind of where I started to feel like they cared more about the previous owner of the laptop and protecting them than it did about protecting me.
Cared more about protecting the previous owner of the laptop. In our experience, things don't happen to people who don't talk.
You know, Dave, it's truly amazing when I first started dipping my toe in political content in the sphere that we now occupy ourselves, that the only guy that could get people to speak like that were fringe people on InfoWars. They were all called fringe crazy people. And now here we have Patrick Bet-David, billionaire or whatever, multi-millionaire, entrepreneur, runs his own media outlet. Ben Shapiro, Crowder, Joe Rogan, they've all paralleled these very same points that were all called fringe and extreme. This makes me wonder, not that this is stretching, but what other, all these other rich people's kids and how many other sons and daughters of politicians and judges and military members and FBI agents are doing the exact same shit. Hunter Biden is
Are you insinuating
yes,
this isn't the only small case of it, Ryan?
This is the tip of the iceberg.
Allegedly.
There's no allegations, Dave. They have Epstein Island. YouTube, you can pull this if you wanted to pull them anyways. So
that's why you need to be sure to watch on Rumble.
It's just, this is so dumb. Like, it's so dumb that people don't know this by now. You don't, how do we not know this? What have you been doing with your cell phone? What have you been doing with your smartphone for 10 fucking years by now? Natural medicines, non-GMO we make non-GMO companies now. Whole non-GMO, all whole grains. That was crazy, French. They're not poisoning your food. That sounds conspiratorial. Now we got whole fucking aisles dedicated to organic. There's nothing wrong with your food, though. Nothing wrong here. It's just greedy capitalists cashing in. How do we not know this? Dude,
well, there's two reasons.
The shit they're not showing. There's got to be so much kiddie stuff on there. Like some serious inappropriate.
Allegedly 2 more laptops also.
No, I'm sure those are going to just magically burn up in a fire somewhere.
So
this guy's going to end up dead.
I can't believe he has not yet.
What's crazy is he looks like an Irish caddy. I don't know if I can take him serious. Like, he should be golfing or something. Yeah, you need like an 8 wedge right now.
And it goes a little bit further because now we're going to bring the media and social media into this and how it intertwines with government. As we've been saying, it's one thing for a private company to remove content like YouTube loves to do and Twitter. But if they're colluding with the government, then it becomes kind of a First Amendment issue when they start silencing speech. And what he talks about here is kind of how that is happening in the background.
And now that I have really nothing left to lose, then why not see it to the end? So I'm going to try to do everything I can to hold these guys accountable. Not just the people, not just the mainstream and social media, though I tried to go after Twitter and everything was looking really good for a while, and then they switched judges on me with an Obama-appointed judge because to prove that I wasn't a hacker, we were going to have Hunter come in and explain that that was his signature, that was him. So we were going to have Hunter testify, and then I guess the White House didn't like that, so they switched judges on me, and the judge threw the case out, awarded Twitter the Florida slap statue. So then I was in the hole with Twitter for $175,000. So whatever Elon's doing right now, if he's going to make that thing crash and burn, God bless him.
You've got some beef with Twitter. I'm not speculating. You've come out and said that your biggest beef might be with Twitter. I think you were trying to sue some of these media outlets, but Twitter's at the top of your list.
Well, Twitter, I tried to sue because they labeled me a hacker. They said that their reasoning for blocking the story from every form of communication was that it was based on hacked material. I'm not a hacker. So I went
because
out,
Hunter gave you the laptop.
he gave me
what they call
permission. My job was to recover. I wasn't there to fix a laptop. It was to recover the data.
And then after 90 days,
It became
legally,
my
it became
property.
yours because he signed a bill or an invoice saying, hey, after 90 days, if you don't pay, this is now my property.
And there's no expectation of privacy when it comes to things you abandon. So I never felt like I ever did anything wrong. So to get labeled a hacker, because people are like, you're going to rot in prison for hacking. I'm like, I didn't hack anything. And we beat 230. Twitter put up the 230 protection defense.
Section 230?
Yeah, and we actually beat them, which I think is a first. My lawyer, we were high-fiving. It was a good time. Things looked very optimistic. And then about June, they switched to judges, and then the judge demanded that my lawyer go down to Florida to explain to her why this case shouldn't be thrown out. So that was not a good sign. And then it was thrown out, and then Twitter. I have to pay Twitter's legal fees.
That seems like justice. Ryan, just so we're clear about what happened there, this guy took information that he was given from Hunter Biden, who abandoned his laptop in a drugged out state of mind, to the FBI. Twitter said he was a hacker, sued, and won $175,000 towards legal fees. So not only did the story get squashed, even though it was real, he owes Twitter money.
Probably not. He doesn't have 175. Probably bankrupt.
No. So what he talked about, actually, there was a foundation. He might even mention them in the next clip. There was a foundation, though, that ended up paying off some of his legal fees. I think, well, the foundation is helping him with his lawsuits, and then maybe there was like a give, send, go, something that it's taken care of.
God bless people, man. This is, I don't want to like scare anybody, but this is kind of scary.
The fact that an Obama-appointed judge...
Thank you for that. I like that he said that because it reminded me of when Trump's were like, those Obama judges. People are like, Trump's insinuating that the judges are political positions. And then here he is
correct.
mimicking very similar rhetoric used at a high federal level in the government.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not like Obama was the president and Joe Biden was the vice president. Of course, Hunter Biden was his son.
Dude,
and then when there was a lawsuit that could have incriminated Hunter Biden, the vice president's son, that the judge didn't just step in and squash the whole thing.
When they speak of civil war, this really makes me wonder if the government itself is in a civil war against itself. Like the good people in the government are fighting these corrupt crackhead fucking... Matt George used to talk about this on Alex. They're going to have to meet to get information for people. You're going to have to meet like in a spy movie and exchange a briefcase in a dark alley and not show each other your faces.
Well, that would be the dark web, right?
No, like in person though.
Oh, I was going to say, because that sounds like 4chan, right?
Yeah, because you can't trust these things. Because what's the point of 4chan if it could just get fucking squashed? But then again, will anybody trust physical information ever again? Because we're so used to the digital? Like, we've already sacrificed to the altar of free speech that these people know better than us because they have independent fact checkers that actually are just opinion pieces from the very people in court said that. Mark Zuckerberg said that, YouTube, not me. They're opinions. Fact checking is based on opinion. So we've already voided our digital belief to these people. Will we ever believe a physical document ever again? Will that ever be good enough for us as people going forward? Will our
it's always
kids
going to be
ever
considered
appreciate?
Some type of collusion or disinformation, or if they're just going to make all information untrustworthy, then it's just going to be chaos. And then it's just whoever controls the internet is going to win the battle.
God. And then who controls the judges? Because the judges work they fucking work with Twitter. I seen a thing, I meant to bring this up a few weeks ago. There was one of the ex-Secret Service agents or something with Biden was going to join the board of Snapchat.
Oh, that seems fine.
I mean, these people have direct conflict of interest. Could you imagine if there was a corporation locally that was doing stuff like that, what they would call them? Monopolies. And this is historically dangerous. I'm sorry, David.
Well, there is a monopoly.
Honestly, I know it's bad, but like to see it covered by other people of such caliber such as Patrick Bet-David, it's just fucking phenomenal, man. The info war has won. Alex won, man. It's crazy.
Well, certainly hope we're on the winning side of things, but this is where the real battle is taking place, and this is where he touches a little bit more on the social media aspect of things.
This other person, zero latency manifestation. What role, if any, have global intelligence agencies historically played in perpetrating elections fraud worldwide? And another one here, Smedley Butler III. What a name, Smedley Butler III. So wait, if organizations admitted the laptop was real, could you not take legal action? They spent months accusing you of colluding with the enemy. Treason ain't no small time accusation.
Yep, and that's why, again, back in April, I didn't think I'd have this opportunity, but back in April, my lawyer texted me. He was like, "Merry Christmas." I was like, "Well, are you okay?" And he said, "No, Joe Flynn and the America Project wanted to fund our lawsuits because we had them to go, but after Twitter, I had to go from offensive to defensive because that's a big bill, and I don't want to. I had to go from going to profit to bankruptcy. It was not." Kind of turned me off to the whole legal thing anyway, because it was like the expectation of getting justice, and then now I'm punished for what I did in the court of law. But if the American Project wants to step up, then we had Adam Schiff ready to go. He was top on my list. CNN, Politico, the Daily Beast just bowed out. They saw the storm is coming, and they just called me a thief for the most part. They didn't really. I want to go after that specific narrative of who said that this was Russian disinformation. And the people that peddled that narrative, because that narrative, to be honest, was a campaign promise. It was being touted by the Biden campaign as a justification for not having to touch the laptop with a 10-foot pole. So anybody that talked about that laptop being Russian and helped aid that narrative is on my list.
Have we not said that disinformation is just a new conspiracy? Like the new term for conspiracy, they're synonymous.
You've definitely said that. That's been your motto for a while.
Yeah, and here we see it. This is why they were able to not touch it with the 10-foot pole, because they've already built it into our culture that disinformation. It's just so crazy. They are so good at crafting narratives, and then like this might be one of the best examples of how the government gets away with whatever they want. I did honestly look. I knew it was bad, but just to see it unfold, man, it's so crazy. It's really crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy dies, somebody he knows dies, or
yeah, it is amazing, and they touch on something like that too. How he's been just real small things, but like the IRS went after him for some small amounts, and things like this.
That's
just
odd.
People making him uncomfortable since this information came out, and I'm sure it's a coincidence, but.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just been at 7-Eleven, and a guy comes up behind him, and as he goes to open the door, it slams shut, and he says, it'd be a real shame if anything would have happened to your kid. Like, excuse me? And then you turn around, and he's gone.
Yeah, and really that's...
It sounds really like from a movie, David? That's weird. The people that make movies can send a hitman to come do the shit that they make movies about? That's odd. That'd be odd that they'd be able to do that. This sounds like a fucking spy novel. Literally a fucking... You can play video games about this.
Yeah, it'd be tough to write something better than this.
You can't. Fact is stranger than fiction, man.
So, for anyone who thinks the Hunter Biden story isn't a big deal, I hope that's changed your mind.
The real shame is midterms are right here, and they're using it on the midterms, the Republicans, because it's relevant. But this is really should sway the presidential election.
It absolutely should. Maybe this is part of the reason why everyone's saying, Joe Biden's not going to run for re-election. Maybe that's part of the reason. Maybe it's not really age-related.
Maybe he'll just suicide himself. Joe Biden fell downstairs by accident today.
Well, he's already fallen up them, so.
That was a joke, YouTube. And probably the Secret Service. They probably don't like that.
Allegedly a joke. Ryan, that was... what I had for us all. On to your, what'd you say? Penduum?
Compendium? Dude, that was heavy. I gotta love with you. I've spent some time looking into some dark shit on the internet and hearing some stuff, and I've seen some films, and
This one should go over very well on Rumble.
Dude, they stole my country from me within a presidential election during the very year that a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic broke out, and then 50-year inflation highs follow right after it, even though all we switched was one guy, and apparently that one guy has no effect on anything.
I do have to correct your statement. Allegedly stole. Remember the word of the day.
They stole the fucking election.
Allegedly.
YouTube.
Allegedly YouTube. I would like this video to be on YouTube, even though I don't like YouTube.
I'm speaking for all 80 million of us. Bread is the new bullets, okay? I told this to somebody else this week. Now, I don't know if I've said this exclusively here or anything else, but what it basically means is I'm going to paint a comic book story arc for you, YouTube and David, because it's just going to be easier to explain it this way instead of making it sound like it's an actual reality that I believe could happen. Oh, remind me to bring up the fucking particle collider.
Excuse me?
Yeah, the all-time. They started the universe up again, remember? Anyways. Bread is the new bullets. Meaning, Patriots always romanticize that we're going to be like in the woods, waiting, wearing camouflage, having guns. And obviously, we can see that the modern war is on the internet. It's information. That was the way we won, waking people up. Well, now, as food gets more and more expensive, and so do bullets, the time to fire the bullets will stop. Because it's more important to feed your neighbors bread than it will be bullets. Because you're going to have to buy loyalty. Just like the gangsters did, like Al Capone and everything else in the inner city so that they could get away with crime. Now, I'm not saying that's what people plan on doing. We need to, in the liberty movement, we have to start looking at resources differently. You know, bread, milk, water. Like, I'm hearing there's going to be concrete shortages. Which is fucking crazy because there hasn't been a shortage on concrete since like the Roman Empire.
I was going to say since ever. Has that ever been a problem?
No, never ever. It's the cheapest shit ever. A bag of concrete's like $2. Okay? It's exaggeration, fact check. But it's still the thing is still there. It's still prevalent. Okay? It is the new bullets. Resources are the new bullets. So start weighing them like that. Your time, all that. Learn skills, read books, all that shit. We all make entertainment time. Don't fucking go crazy, but we do gotta.
If you're looking for any good recommendations on scales to weigh your resources, I know a guy. It's 2.07 without the bag. It's not even where the decimal is. Fucking buffoon.
You can tell that guy's never had to worry about money.
That dude is the president's son. He doesn't even know how decimals work.
He's never had to. Remember when they said Trump couldn't get through high school?
He sat on a good gas board, though.
It's not clear if he's cashed out yet. And with bread being the new bullets, I seen an article, not that I believe this because it's only one expert, and experts aren't really experts, but it said that apparently there's only 10 weeks of wheat left in the whole world.
What?
For the whole world? Yeah.
That can't be right.
Insider.com, David.
10 weeks of wheat left?
For the whole globe, yeah.
In the world. Come on, there's no way.
Global wheat supply.
Hold on. Can I do this? I think I can do this. How do I do this? Window.
Live fact check here. December 1773, the things the news don't do.
Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
An expert told the UN that the world has about only 10 weeks of wheat supplies left. The world has about 10 weeks of wheat supplies stored as Russia's invasion of Ukraine enters its fourth month.
Why is this the thing that's fucking starving? Do you know how small Ukraine is? Do you know how fucking small that country is?
Is it still sharing?
No. It's bankrupting the fucking world. That's so asinine. It's not because of the war in Ukraine. If anything, it would speed up fucking bread production because you need food to feed people. You know how dumb that is? You know how fucking dumb that is? Never in the history of ever has a fucking army that's short on grain and wheat and supply won. It doesn't happen like that. They're like, oh man, we need more bread because we're at war.
What do we have left? 25 days of fuel supply? in our reserve, something like that, 29 days. I don't remember what else. And then we have 10 weeks of wheat supply left in the world.
I sent a thing to David that talked about why Biden's poll numbers are so terrible. They're like, why is Biden's poll numbers terrible? Fucking world's of shit. You blame it on a war that has nothing to do with why everything's terrible.
That we just happen to get involved with for some unknown reason.
All right, I got a couple things to breeze over. Dollar and euro are equal. I brought that up. We are in a recession. Nobody's talked about it. Patrick Bet David was the first one I seen in the media talk about it, and the new media in particular. So just referencing it because the dollar and the euro are the same. That has not happened in quite a while, if I'm not mistaken.
Was it the Bank of America who said they believe that we're in a recession as well? Some exec at the Bank of America or something.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitionary. Definitionary?
Yeah, but it's not declared yet.
By Joe Biden, because, that would look bad, kind of like my son smoking crack with strippers and baby daddy.
Yeah, going into the midterms with a crackhead son and a recession doesn't sound like a good strategy.
I think
we know how that works out.
I think Biden needs to be impeached. And I also meant to tell you guys this. We're officially starting our election coverage now. So here at December 7th.
Yes, we are. I totally knew that.
I didn't tell you guys, but I have a story about that at the end I'll get to.
Brian's going to tell us now, but I'll declare it soon.
Declaring bankruptcy.
No, I'm not declaring bankruptcy.
All right. Couple things. Monkeypox is in Erie County. Okay.
Hey, we talked about monkeypox.
Yeah, monkeypox is here in Erie County. Okay.
Just stay away from the
WHO is talking about locking down again. Dave sent me an article about that. I don't know. I'm not wearing a mask.
Do you think they'll lock down before the midterm so we have to mail our votes in again?
That'd be odd. 2 times in a row, David.
During the midterms, it's weird. All these Republicans are winning. Oh, none of them won. That's strange. All these mail-in ballots came in at 1:30 in the morning when there was a water main break.
Speaking of water main break, I sent this video to David. The New York City Department of Preparedness, or whatever they call themselves, released a nuclear preparedness public display announcement video on the internet.
Yeah, I you sent me that link. I watched it. That was pretty. It's wild.
It was a few days after Russia came out and said they were going to threaten nukes and they're flexing their nukes and all this stuff. I'm no nuclear survival expert or anything, but I'm pretty sure if there's a nuke, I'm not going to be able to run inside and turn the fucking water on in my house, considering there was a nuclear explosion that probably blew up the water plant.
Well, if it blew up close enough.
We're going to have electricity. We're going to have electricity for hot water, Dave. Oh, yeah, strip your clothes and wash them. Ha, 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 ha. Go to the laundry mat.
You can get a cold shower. I mean, at this point, your
and then I'm supposed
to
wait around. Yeah, wait around so I could die. You don't have enough food for the globe. I'm supposed to magically think you're going to conjure some up fucking during a nuclear disaster.
There's plenty of crickets to go around. Got a lot of protein in those crickets.
These people know exactly what they're doing. This is no accident. All right,
it's 2035.
2035. You owe nothing? No. Yeah, just imagine they're saying there's a nuke.
There is no wheat supply left in the world, and you're the happiest you've ever been.
Just put on your Oculus and go back to bed.
Into the meta. The meta is such a nice world. No nukes.
Just boobs, no nukes. God bless. All right, getting serious now. Donald Trump's first ex-wife died at 73.
Yes.
Trump assassinated her. Only logical explanation.
Allegedly.
I brought it up. I seen an article because it was like Trump. She was the only one that Trump listened to. One of the few that Trump listened to was her. Now, whether or not that's true, great. I'm glad Trump can listen to somebody. I doubt it's a female. But I like the way they phrased it because I like stories, and I know the media does too, because I know they're going to phrase it that ever since Trump's ex-wife died, he's been a loose cannon. He's had nobody to go and turn to about all his troubles. No, she's just for fucking, David. Speaking of fucking, Carl Paladino.
Oh God, Pedo Pete.
This is my December David this week. Okay, this is my December David this week because I signed up for national polls and stuff during voting time, and I got a phone call, and this is how I knew Donald Trump is a fucking genius. Pete Langworthy is running in the same district or seat that Carl Paladino is locally here. I plan on voting for Carl Paladino. Granted, I know people, blah 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 blah. Okay. So I got a call from the center that they employ to call out and ask you all these questions. If you strongly disagree, super agree, less likely to vote, more likely to vote, your age, your fucking ethnicity, your upbringing, like all that shit. So there was like a series of questions. They were all in a row. And it was like, did you know that Pete Langworthy was endorsed by Donald Trump? Because earlier in the survey, they asked if Donald Trump, if I have strong favorance towards Donald Trump, right? And then later it comes up, Pete Langworthy was endorsed by Donald Trump. Are you more or less likely to vote for him because of that? I was like, I see what you're doing here. Okay. And then another thing happened. The next question was, Carl Paladino was caught sharing emails or text messages that involved a donkey show.
A what? A donkey show?
When an animal has sex with a woman.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, that's what you're into, I suppose. Who doesn't love a good donkey show, Ryan?
Dave, the girl on the phone sounded so innocent. I laughed in her fucking face, like out loud. Dude, imagine employing this. Had to be Trump had to have figured this out. Trump had to have got only Trump would do some shit like this. Because I'm saying Trump because Pete Langworthy was endorsed by Trump, right? And then this political ad was from a place, and I asked where it was from. I asked them questions they're not allowed to answer. But imagine paying a fucking firm to make phone calls and then reference bestiality pornography as a way to try to sway people during a political midterm.
Do you think he used Christian's firm?
God help us, dude. It was hilarious. I'll probably still vote Carl Paladino because he has great taste in pornography, and if you have great taste in... I'm just kidding.
This is very serious. This is a very serious show.
That dude is going to get fucking assassinated. Thank you, everybody. Dave Ryan, December 1773.
You gotta tell everyone. I'm going to point to it. It's on the background. Facebook.
Yeah.
YouTube. Rumble. But mostly Rumble.
Mostly Rumble.
Mostly this one. Not so much this one. Definitely not really this one. But a lot of this one. Subscribe. Follow. Rumble.
Thank you, David, as always. Thank you, everybody, for made it to the end. I appreciate that the most. Dave Ryan, December 1773. We drop every Monday, 7 Eastern. Make sure you tune in, like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble. Dave and I will be there for the premiere. Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ryan.